Yes, sir. It's Wednesday night, 9 p.m. prime time with your boys reporting eligible, man. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and coming through. And please, while you come through and you're joining us, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also helps us get our viewerships and our, subscriptions up. We greatly and gladly appreciate it. Diz the Monster, what is going on already in the chat? Bro Talk, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. I just
All
I was going to tweet this out, but I thought I'd use the video, the podcast out to all of you that, sent condolences and thoughts and prayers to me and my family. I just want to say thank you. Kind of took us by surprise, but not really. My grandma was up there in age, but it's always tough losing a loved one. So thank you all for reaching out. I really appreciate it,
man. Absolutely, man. Condolences, definitely, man. Just, appreciate you being here this evening. I know this is a little getaway of some sort, for the mental. Always a healthy thing, man. But we certainly do appreciate you. And again, so condolences to you and the family, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, man. Well, bro, we've been on air since February, and it's been us. It's been the duo. It's been live streaming.
Superman and Batman, baby.
Right. But this time around, man, it's pretty special, man, because we're getting ready to bring our very first guest, man, onto the show. And this man, we admire his work on Twitter. Stand-up cat, man. Boots on the ground this past week live in Falcons training camp. We're bringing you none other than our brother, man. Brice Lewis joins us on Reporting Eligible. Welcome, my brother. Welcome as our very first guest, man.
Welcome.
Hey, man, glad to be here. Glad to be the first one, man. You know what I'm saying? It came a long way. It's great to be in the presence of you two, two legends in the community. So I'm glad to be here.
Obviously, we have a superstar over here in Berto all over social media.
Yep.
First week of training camp.
Yep.
Front page. Man, my goodness, a superstar.
Man, man, we're here. But the folks in the chat, man, are alive and lit. We definitely appreciate you, man. We got some heartfelt condolences going out to you again, Bro Talk. Knuckles MMA is in here. Jason Roberts as well. Jones Bones, what's up?
We haven't even talked about the trenches yet.
Right. And he's going off already, man. We got this in here. Pricey, what is going on, man? But yeah. We're gonna start it a little bit different. We're gonna go news around the NFL for starters. Very intriguing contract came out today. One young man that definitely felt his worth, and goddamn it, he got paid. And that's James Cook from the Buffalo Bills. 4 years, $48 million, 12-year annual guaranteed contract, $30 million guaranteed overall. Excuse me. But James Cook finally gets his contract for, like I mentioned, ranking him 6. And that's probably a precursor of what we may be in store in the coming years with our very own Bijan Robinson. But we'll start with Brice and your thoughts right quick on the contract extension for James Cook.
I think it was a good deal for him. I think he's really emerged last year for them, obviously taking on a bigger role with the team, and I think he's definitely played up to which people were kind of expecting. At Georgia, he was kind of a part of a multifaceted backfield of different guys, and in the start of Buffalo, it was kind of the same thing. But I think, like I said, you see the speed, you see what he could do, and you see what he became for this team last year. So I think it was a solid deal for him, and I think, like you said, is a precursor to what could potentially be with Bijan. Is take a couple of years ago, was it Saquon got a contract extension that was pretty big? So I mean, it'll give you kind of a range of where maybe you see Bijan's contract numbers potentially landing.
Stop, nerds. What's going on, nerdy nerd? Gotta love it, man. Man, we got the best fans, man. We definitely appreciate them all. But Bro Talk, what your take on James Cook and his contract extension?
Well, I agree with Brice that this is about his range, if we're being honest. Even though he's taking a more predominant role, I know he was looking for that $20 million a year, 21. That would beat Saquon. Saquon gets 20.6 right now. And Kyron Williams' extension, $11 million per year, really hurt his negotiation. So if he's upset at anyone, he needs to be upset at Kyron Williams and his agent. But as far as Bijan's goes, it helps us because if James Cook had beaten out Saquon. Well, that only drives the price up even more because then we're going to be gunning to beat out the Detroit Lions, who are going to extend Jahmyr Gibbs as well. They beat us to the punch. That adds, that's even more on top because obviously Bijan thinks he's the best. We think that as well in the NFL, so we're going to want to pay him accordingly. So good that Cook didn't get, that record-breaking deal.
Yeah.
But then also we got to think about Jahmyr Gibbs also wanting that contract if he's on the same trajectory and doesn't have any type of fall off.
Yeah, this is going to be a telling year. The first year without Ben Johnson as the coordinator, so we will see how his numbers reflect this year. How much will he be missing Ben Johnson and all his creativity? So a lot of things, a lot to go before we hit that Bijan extension, but. Right now is where we have to start paying attention because other running backs that swoon in and get paid that we don't think should be getting paid the amount of money that they do. And today James Cook, 4 years, $48 million, definitely deserves it. But we'll flip the page on this one, and we're gonna recap Lions and Falcons from this past Friday, guys. First preseason game of the year. Jitters, the excitement. It was a lively crowd at the Benz, and I think what took the preseason or for us Falcon fans was this damn defense. Defense definitely came out to play right from the jump, man. Turnover, a rarity for this Falcons defense, spared by James Pierce Jr. because on that very first play, they had to account for him in the backfield, which, was, I think, Hendon Hooker who started for Detroit, flushed him in the pocket. Brandon Dorlus there for the strip sack. But your overall thought on Brice, we're going to start with you. How'd you feel about the Falcons' defensive performance in preseason game one?
I thought it was good. I think it was very strong, like a lot of people did. I think, Jeff Ulbrich has established the type of defense he wants to have, and I think they kind of play like that. In the preseason, obviously, you're using a lot of your basic concepts that you run just because you're not trying to show anything. So really in preseason, it's just about intensity, energy, playing fast, things of that nature, and that's exactly the way that I think they played. I've said that, one of the things this defense has improved is they became more athletic. I think you were able to see that on the field. Having DeMarco Helms back's big. Obviously, he was a guy who had a good rookie year. People were kind of interested how would he do go into his second year, had an injury, had the game taken away from him for a little bit, but was able to get back out there. And he's excited to get out there and start hitting people again. And so I think overall, for the most part, like I said, you're going to have some blunders here and there. That's just part of it. But overall, I think defensively, I think it was a strong performance. You saw pass rush, turnovers. You saw flashes from some guys that were hoping to step up this year. And, especially for the Lions who try to really, establish themselves as a physical football team from 1 to 53. I think the Falcons did a good job kind of matching up with that and really responding in this game. And just, playing with energy and flying around, which I think is just a precursor to what we'll see when we get into the regular season when the main guys are playing.
Very good breakdown. Bro Talk, what do you feel?
Brice did a good job summing it up, and I want to take a moment to focus on the rookies and what we saw from them. I think Xavier Watts had a little bit of a quiet night, and I think he was overshadowed or overshined, whichever word it is, by DeMarco Helms, right? Absolutely. Because DeMarco made the splashes, the big hits. He was all over the field. I didn't necessarily think Watts had a bad game. I think he was just relatively quiet. Billy Bowman rotating in every other series. Him and D. Alford are going at it for the nickel position. I thought Billy Bowman did a great job, showed some tackling ability, right? That was a big question mark for him coming out of college, and his ability to just stick his nose in there and not be afraid, taking a tight end on a screen, splitting a double team on a toss play, and then getting in on the tackle. That was huge. And Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. Guys, I saw content creator, non-biased opinion said he wasn't moved by what he saw. Okay. And he's got a pretty large following. Okay. I completely disagreed with what he had to say, even though the numbers weren't there, right? Jalen Walker got himself a tackle. James Pierce Jr. had 2 quarterback pressures. Like, that's what you were looking for from a rookie. Like, a lot of people outside, and even Falcon fans, you have to temper your expectations for rookie edge rushers. It's very rare that you get a Nick Bosa, a Jared Verse. Even Jared Verse only had 4.5 sacks.
4.5 sacks.
Micah Parsons the first year. So especially when it comes to like, people starting to freak out over Jalen Walker. And then, I put out a tweet saying, hey, maybe he should pick Micah Parsons' brain, similar build type, obviously not as athletic, but like, hey, what works for you, what doesn't, what do you see in these guys? And everyone kind of blew it out of proportion. Guys, Jalen Walker's playing edge full-time for the first time ever, right? He played it at UGA some, but then he played off-ball some. He was that tweener guy, but now the Falcons want him to play edge full-time. Where we're going to see the splashes is JPJ, which I think when you watched him, like analyzed him, what he was doing and how he was able to counter some of the offensive tackles and how they were blocking him, he was doing a phenomenal job. He was forklifting an arm, speed to power, cross chop, and like he was doing all sorts of stuff. And there was a play, the deep shot that Kyle Allen had, split second longer. James Pierce was there. I don't know if you guys remember the play.
I do.
He was right there. So those are all positives, right? And then the defensive front, second-year guys, Brandon Dorless, Rook Ororo, those guys had a great game building off of that. I want to see it continue, right? We'll get into the joint practice, here in a little bit, but it seems that they're on that trajectory, especially with a Titans team that I've said is not going to be very good this year. Can they do the same thing and better this coming Friday?
All valid points. Love it, man. Yeah. So even for James Pierce Jr., his energy was on the field, of course, and then we started seeing the Lions really started shifting the offensive alignments, really giving their right tackles some extra help, and that happened like right away. He started getting chipped, and like Bro Talk mentioned, if it wasn't for that, he was just a split second faster, man. He's in there for his first career sack, and for Jalen Walker, man, through the pre-draft process. Anybody that breaks down film, watches film extensively, knows how he was utilized at UGA. We all knew that he wasn't a full-time edge guy, but has the absolute potential to be that. He has untapped potential, of course. He has an uncanny athleticism. So a lot of people would say, oh, okay, this is a carbon copy of Micah Parsons. That'll come with time. Right? It's up to this coaching staff to really get him and put him in the best possible scenarios for him to succeed and win and build, just build his overall confidence, and everything else will come from there. Where we know we're going to get the splashes is like Bro Talk said, is JPJ. And that's okay. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. I will take a stout run defender right now that can possibly give me 5 to 6 sacks in Jalen Walker and allow JPJ to just eat 7 to 10 sacks and make an overall impact on this entire defense. We saw glimpses of it. We saw, how the interior guys were getting active. And sure, we have a new defensive line coach in Nate Ollie who's preaching, physicality, get the fuck off the ball, as it's stated on their wristbands, Brandon Dorless was saying. So there's a new attitude in this Falcons defensive line, and it's just correlating so well right now, so early. Sure, it's just the beginning of preseason, but if this carries, or when this carries into the regular season, dude, guys, we could very well just get pressure with our front four, or and hey, that's a win for this Falcons organization overall in the coaching staff, man.
Yeah, you touch on Jalen Walker. A lot of people say he's built like an ox. He's strong like an ox. He showed it because when he had to set the edge and keep his spot, he was able to anchor that exterior leg and not get moved. And at one point, he was able to beat a tight end to his spot, take on the H-back, split those defenders, and then get in for the tackle. And that same play we talked about with JPJ, I didn't even notice until I was looking at the end zone view. Jalen Walker was splitting a double team, and he was getting there too. That's what forced Kyle Allen to step up because he felt it on both sides. And that's where Brandon Dorless was able to, or actually that's a different play, but the one right before the half where Brandon Dorless was able to punch the ball out.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Run out the clock.
Run out the clock. Yep.
Completely different play, but he felt pressure on both sides, and Jalen Walker was splitting a double team.
Imagine that.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come. And I think they had a good game. It wasn't like a wow game, but it's what you wanted to see, and then they just need to keep building off of it.
Yeah, the turnovers in the red zone. When's the last time Atlanta, even had, something like that bounce their way, right? It's been a while. So it's great times right now. I think back maybe 2 years ago, Jesse Bates took one back to the house against the Aints, right? Rare red zone turnovers by the offense created by the defense. But yeah, any other guys really stood out to you all in this game? We spoke about Brandon Dorlus, but Zach Harrison has been a guy that we've all been waiting for. He was in on a couple plays. I think he was a split second too late on a would-be sack as well. But just this attack style front just fits what we got going on, the players that we have to a T. These are all guys that can win 1v1, and it's great. But you guys just take real quick on who'd you see else step up to the plate on this defense?
Go ahead, Brice.
I feel like, you know what? Actually, I'll mention him. I'll mention Josh Woods.
Yes,
nice.
He's a guy
great game.
Pretty much, I think a lot of people view him as just a backup linebacker, special teams guy. But he's had the opportunity to get more reps at that second team linebacker position with D'Angelo Malone at times.
Oh man,
I feel like he's played well. I mean, you can see the athleticism, very quick, very explosive guy. And I think sometimes it's just getting the opportunity to get those reps and be put in that role. And I think if you're the Falcons, I know linebacker depth is a bit of a question right now with some injuries that we have, but he's a guy that so far from what you've seen, I think there's confidence there in what you're seeing that, okay, so far he looks good. He looks like he can hold up. Looks like there's been improvement just in general as a linebacker. Maybe what Jeff Ulbricht's trying to do is fitting better for him as a linebacker, especially because he wants more of an attack style defense in general. And with the way Josh is, I think he could really go after it and make some plays. And that's why I think he was the leading tackler on defense in the preseason.
6 tackles, I think. Yeah,
so,
Josh Woods.
So, you could see it. Even in camp, you could see it at times with him. So I think that he's a guy that I think has really done a great job of stepping up when the opportunity is called for it and really giving himself and the coaching staff a confidence that, hey, this is a guy that, he could be the backup to whoever they want to put him behind in the depth chart, whether that's Divine Diablo or Caden Ellis, and kind of let him go to work. And obviously he already has value on special teams. So a guy who can kind of do it all a little bit.
Josh Woods reminds me of a linebacker we had similar in stature, Robert James from back in the day. He was a special teams guy who got some spot starts and did pretty well. That's what Josh Woods reminds me of. But I like to bring up the guy that you mentioned and played alongside him is D'Angelo Malone. I think I've talked to him enough about him on the show. I just love the fact that we're taking this super athletic young man who's transitioning from edge to off-ball linebacker or inside linebacker and is relishing in his opportunity. I think he had a pretty good game in this preseason. He would have had a sack, but it got negated for roughing the passer call. But he would have had a sack in this game too. He was around the ball constantly. I mean, a lot of us know he's going to make the roster, specifically as the special teams maven. But this is a gentleman that's taking the opportunities that we have on hand with JD Burton being out. We don't know how long he's going to be out. Of course, PUP for Troy Anderson. There's some voids, and can he step up? And I think he played pretty well to gain some confidence in this coaching staff.
I've got a couple players.
Let's hear it.
Bones beat me to it. Natron Brooks had himself a great day. He's a couple PBUs. Did get beat.
Preseason darling.
Did have a couple plays where he did get beat, but that's okay. He can't win them all.
Nope.
But overall he was playing sticky. His coverage was real sticky. The PBUs. It's unfortunate he got hurt because I think he would have provided some really good depth. TQ Graham.
Wow, man,
that TFL was beautiful. Also recovering the fumble, getting pressure up the middle. Hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. It's just, man, TQ just cannot stay healthy.
Can't, man.
And the last one, we talked about him, seeing how he's been having a great camp, and you saw it translate to the field. Khalid Kareem.
He was in on a sack.
Yes. He got credited with the full sack is what I saw.
Yep.
And so I think all three of those guys, if TQ can get healthy, I think all those three of those guys could make the rosters and be some really good depth rotational pieces if they got their number called for whatever reason. I think they would contribute, and we wouldn't miss a beat a whole lot.
Yeah. So who steps up to the plate with TQ's absence for now has to be LaCale London. He played okay, you know, and run sets. He pushed out.
The guy that you like, Simeon Barrow, could also take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Oh, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. Well, we got to go back into the chat. We got Uncle Steve in the house. Uncle Steve's Lounge, man. Please go and follow Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. Fantastic.
Listen, man, I was reading that comment and it was real nice till I got to the very end.
This part is more for Brice. Uncle Steve needs a weekly update on Felipe Frank's impact on the team. I'll leave the floor to you, my friend. What did you see from Felipe? We have a concerned fan here.
I mean, he out there.
He's a Felipe freak. This is a Felipe freak right here.
This man has a shrine of Felipe Frank. Don't get it twisted.
Out there, he's doing
he put the pads on.
I mean, he does. He's just being a good body. He's a good. There's not really much to report from the Felipe Franks train. I mean, I honestly, I feel like they just have him working primarily special team stuff and things of that nature. Because I don't even remember seeing him really a lot of drills. Like, I think he's done a couple of like regular pass catching drills and things like that, but I don't think anything crazy. So, that's all I really got on Felipe. I mean, he's there. If he makes the team, it's for special teams. That's it.
Yeah.
So, because I think that tight end room. I mean, I feel like there's another third tight end in front of him. So, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. There's sometimes we have these weird infatuations with players, or an organization really likes a guy, and maybe for Felipe they feel like so much value in special teams. Let's just keep him around.
There's your update, Unc. There is life still in the lungs of, or air in the lungs of Felipe Franks. Now, switching dials. Notes from scrimmage. Now, you were there for the first one, Brice. So we're going to rely on your expertise to really fill us in, and we'll dive into today's action as well. But day one sounded like, and it looked like from all the clips seen on X, Falcons, it was belt to asses the first day. And the Falcons really got, the best of Tennessee. But you were there front and center. You got to see. What can you tell us about this Falcons team from yesterday's performance and the first day of joint practices?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I think the Falcons won the day. I think that they came out and played, I think, how both sides of the ball wanted to play. You, Berto, talked about this a little bit yesterday. But, I mean, for the most part, offensively, Penix, was really solid. Outside of still missing just a couple of things short, couple of small throws, things like that. Really, his bread and butter was intermediate to deep. Big play to Casey Washington over the top. Fighting Drake London a lot because obviously they have a great chemistry already, which I've observed through camp. So especially watch out for Drake London on slant routes. That is play because there was
that word slant
and a receiver.
Whoa, not like that.
Come on, man.
He can run.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, he's got more of a route. Okay.
We're the home team here.
No, I guess because there was a play where if this was in game, he probably would have had a big game where he was just open on the slant. And I think somebody even mentioned it today. They say, yeah, Drake London on the slant is kind of dangerous because it's just it's one because I forgot who said it, but he's right about this. They said they've been using Bijan as like a decoy where I think they'll move him. He'll be in the middle of the defense, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
They'll send him out. Linebacker move, middle of the field wide open. You send Drake London.
Exactly. Yep.
And so that's been a bit of bread and butter for them. Because I mean, for the most part, the throws I see with Penix and London is more obviously fade routes, where he can use his size, slants, or just curl routes, just because London's really good at just finding the spot in the zone or whatever the defense is doing. Big body, boom, catch it, first down. So I mean, because he looked like one of the most impressive receivers all camp, and he's been that. And I'm expecting a really big year from him, especially with what I'm, like I said, seeing between him and Penix. So from that perspective, he's been good. Like I said, Casey Washington's been stepping up a big time. I was saying this to Berto yesterday. I said, listen, I don't know what's happening to Darnell Mooney. Penix finally gave an update today.
Yeah.
He's saying he expects to have him back by week 1. Raheem saying, he's going to be back. I don't know. If everybody's like, is there something? This is injury worse than expected. But, I mean, Casey Washington is very much deserved if Darnell did not play week 1 to probably be the X receiver start week 1. Just because who else you can put there? I haven't seen Cordell Hodge there. So, and Casey and Penix's chemistry goes back to last year.
It sure does.
Remember, that was the one receiver that Penix was very comfortable with was Casey Washington.
Yep.
So it makes sense that, he gets into that role and now him and Penix are doing good things together. Fast guy. He's been able to get open, especially on like a curl, like it's like a corner route. For some reason, corner routes are the routes where you're going towards the sideline where he gets open in whatever the zone of the defense and makes a big play. And so I think, he's very much deserved. And really the wide receiver room in general, that
talk about it.
Receiver is like everybody's has had a good day. I mean,
listen,
Dylan Drummond had like what 6-8 catches in the last game,
8 targets, 8 catches, 63 yards. He was Easton Stick's go-to guy Friday night.
David Stills is the name I kept hearing throughout camp as well. Someone that I feel like Kirk has shown comfortability with as well.
Nick Nash also, right?
I know some people are asking for Nick Nash updates. And the thing is, I don't even think Nick Nash has had a bad camp. He just hasn't done anything like special or anything to make him stand out, but he hasn't been bad. He's been fine. Like, I see him in one-on-ones. He seems pretty good there. Like, he's fine. Like, he had 3 catches in the preseason game. Like, it's just one of those things where you just have so much competition. And then Chris Blair, he's been a camp legend. Legend for years. But I also feel like he gets better every year. I feel like this year he's gotten better. So like, there's a lot of competition where if you're the Falcons, you're like, listen, I feel good about the wide receiver depth a little bit, and even with the guys you're going to keep in the practice squad, because you're probably going to keep maybe two guys, maybe 3, depending on how many you want to keep. And so, I mean, with Casey kind of making his case, and the fact that we believe Agnew will be on the roster just because of special teams, I mean, that would probably be your 6 guys with Ray, Drake, Mooney, and Cordell Hodge. And then you just got to figure out, okay, which out of the 3, Blair, Nash, and Steele, you're keeping. And I haven't even talked about DJ Shark, which he hasn't even been bad. It's just, he's just, I mean, he like, I remember one-on-ones, he completely burned the crap out of a Tennessee defender off the line, just a straight go route, burned him, boom, touchdown. Like, it's one of
that's
those.
good to hear. That's good to hear because from the clips from today, his route running ability was ass, bro. I was like, what was that? He was jammed up. He couldn't go nowhere.
He's never really been a route runner guy.
No, he's not. He's just a go guy, really.
Yeah, go guy. So, from that, just offensively, this has been good. And obviously, Kyle Pitts was more active today than I think he was yesterday within the offense. But you saw that we hear about the one-handed, catch and just, him being effective in the red zone with him and Penix. So, offensively, really good. Defensively, they really caused a lot of issues for Cam. There was a lot. It wasn't. I said this. Somebody asked about the pass rush. It wasn't that they were sacking him because obviously Cam's more of a mobile guy. It was just he didn't really have a lot of people to go to. The secondary really played well yesterday. Like he was holding the ball. He was like, I ain't got nothing. Check down. Got to run. Like the biggest pass play, in my opinion, that the first team versus what they did good on good was literally like a crossing route to Ridley over the middle, and that was on Mike Hughes. I mean, and that's like a crossing route, so it's like, if you ain't
running away from him.
Yeah, it's just running away, exactly.
Yeah, so like for the most part, they really did a good job on the secondary. I guess they were able to get some pressure. Like I said, there was one sack that happened on Ward. I couldn't see who did it, but I saw Dorles's name flash. I don't know if he would get credit. He was just there. Pocket was collapsing. And overall, I think the defense was good. Obviously, they had a couple, 2 turnovers yesterday. I think Lamar Jackson punched the ball out on one play. And then I think, let's see, who was it? Mike Ford Jr. got a pick, which I don't know where Cam Wood was throwing at, but he got a pick, easy pick. And then there was
we'll take those all day.
Yeah, then AJ Terrell, I think, was defending Calvin, deflected it, popped up in the air, and Jesse Bates got the pick. So, I mean, across the board, I think defensively they had a good day too. And I think Jeff Ulbrich talked about it afterwards is really just consistency and sustainability is the biggest thing he wants from his guys. It's just sustain. Because he said he felt like in the preseason game came out with energy, kind of trailed off a little bit, but sustaining because that's what you got to do to be a great team in the league is you got to sustain that level. And so really, like I said, that first day they were good. Obviously, I was not shocked today that it was a little bit more even-ish, even though Tennessee people saying Titans didn't win. But, I think that you've definitely seen some good things that you want to see if you're if you're a Falcons fan from this team. And, people are going to try to nitpick and, oh, well, Terrell got beat by Calvin today and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I mean, Calvin Ridley's not a bum. He's a good receiver in this league. Like, he can play.
Right.
Like, it's always weird when I hear that he gets beat once. Wow, AJ Terrell's a terrible corner. I'm like, I mean, sorry that, a good receiver won a one-on-one in camp. Like, I mean, dang.
Yeah, it's a given, bro. It's going to happen.
So, overall, man, really solid stuff, I think, from what we saw. And like I said, this was big for obviously guys like Penix and them because they're not going to really play in the preseason. So just getting live reps against another scheme, another team, and he was dealing with pressure from Jeffrey Simmons for Tennessee. So, seeing Penix like move around a little bit, but also did a good job, like I said, just finding guys and things of that nature. So really, really good stuff, I think, all around.
Can you touch on the Falcons' run defense? I follow Teron Davenport, who is a beat writer for the Tennessee Titans, and he was there, like you, and he reported how difficult it was for this Titans team to run on the Falcons, laterally, more so than anything. Obviously, it's due to the speed that the Falcons have on their defense now. But what you see from this Falcons' run defense while you were there?
No, it was solid. I felt like out of the two phases of offense, passing and running, first day, I felt like they had a little bit more success running the football, but it wasn't like they're busting off long runs, Laterally, the lateral thing is a good point to point out because I think that's where I think the strength of the defense could be when it comes to that. And I really think on both sides, when you try to go outside, it was a bit of an issue, just because I think both teams have, some athletic defenders on their team. So, but for the Falcons' sake, I think that, for what they have, Divine Diablo has been a name that people have mentioned has really, really played well. Athletic guy, is all over the field. He's really ingratiated himself with his teammates. He is a guy who I think allows them to probably do a little bit more with just the fact you can trust him. Because last year in that role was Nate Landman. And his limitations. And, he has a defensive coordinator and obviously, Jimmy Lake, whatever. But, you understand his limitations.
James
and so,
Bond.
with Divine, you can do a lot more just because of what he can do. And obviously, Jeff loves his converted safeties. He's a converted safety. So I think that, the strength of this D line and the strength of this linebacking core is that they're athleticism. Very athletic front, very quick front, which is why they want to attack, which is why they want to go. Because that's their strength. They're not we're big, beefy, we'll play a slow smash mouth game with you. And we'll see how they do against more of a smash mouth team. This isn't the Titans with Derrick Henry. So, right. We'll see how they do against that. But in terms of just perimeter, out on the edges, lateral, things of that nature, I think they've really shown the improvements they've made there, which is going to be important when you're facing maybe guys like a Cam Ward. Because, he's a guy who can go when he gets in the open field. And if you're able to contain because you have the guys and the horses that can keep up with him, that will also just help the defense overall. So I think run defense was good, and I think they did a good job of just playing discipline, which I think Jeff's really tried to instill into the team.
Good tidbits. I love it, man. Bro Talk, anything you want to add?
I'm just eager what you saw in the Battle of the Trenches. They have one of the best defensive tackles in the league in Jeffrey Simmons. We got to see a small clip on X today of them going at it. How much trouble was he giving, and were our guys able to, hold up? Not every single rep, right? Because he's going to win some.
Yeah,
that's a given. He's been an All-Pro guy, but how did they hold up, and how did they adjust? Because I think Jeffrey Simmons is really the only guy they have besides maybe Tavondre Sweat, and he's not known to be a pass rushing guy.
Mm-hmm.
How did the ones hold up against him?
Honestly, I think they did pretty well. I mean, I think Simmons got through, or if there was pressure on Penix, it was Simmons getting close. So you would see Penix move. But when I think about it, I feel like Penix, for the most part, especially with some of the plays he made, he had time to get it to guys. And that's why he was able to get the big play to Casey Washington and to Drake and to other guys because of the fact that he had the time. I feel like for the most part through joint practices, I don't think Penix threw a pick. So, he wasn't under like the most consistent of duress. I think it was just one of those things where I think the offensive line, like I said, did pretty well against what the Titans brought to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they did a pretty good job of just, making sure that people really didn't get to the quarterback. Because I don't really remember any plays or any Falcons plays really getting stopped because of a would-be sack.
Gotcha.
Like I said, there was one where Simmons kind of wrecked it, and I remember Penix had to roll out immediately, run outside, and everything like that. But outside of that, I think he did the offensive line did a pretty good job with what the Titans were kind of throwing at him.
Gotcha.
That's awesome to hear because we know what we have at guard, but we have a new center in Ryan Uziel. So I was interested to hear a little bit more with him starting now. Him going 1v1 versus Simmons, who's an All-Pro tackle. From what I saw, from what I read and stuff like that, he held up pretty good against Simmons in certain spots and stuff. So overall, I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Like Bro Talk said too, it's Jeffrey Simmons really. And T'Vondre Sweat, really. So there's really not that much of a challenge per se, but at the end of the day, it is Simmons, and he just gives everybody fits, and that's fine.
I have another question.
Sure.
From what I saw, Michael Penix had a really sharp day one, right? You touched on the little short throws that maybe he struggled on. He's still trying to iron out, get that little touch on the ball. But day two, I saw that he struggled a little bit more. Can you tell us what maybe you saw the Titans were doing that maybe would have caused him to struggle a little bit more? Obviously, you want these reps so you can learn and adjust, and that way when you're in the game, you can make the throws and get the completions. But why do you think he struggled a little bit more today?
The thing is, when you looked at the reports and I saw the sayings, it wasn't like he was under a ton of pressure and he missed. I think he just missed some throws, which has happened a couple of times through camp, where he'll just miss a throw. I've always said the thing when you have a quarterback, a big arm quarterback, especially like a guy like Penix, and this is something I think Josh Allen had to work on early in his career, is that it's like they're more comfortable just saying, oh, there's all this space. There he goes. Let me throw it down there so we can get to it. It's a little different when like everything's closer. Because like you notice a lot of his issues, especially came like in the red zone drills when they were red zoning, because it's just a much more tighter space. There's not as much field. You don't want to overthrow. So I think Penix right now is kind of going through the process of just trying to fill out these throws and say, okay, how much do I need on this? How high do I? Because like obviously, you're hearing that he may have overthrew Pitts on one, and he threw it high. So obviously he's trying to like, okay, how high should I get this ball up here for Pitts without the defender maybe being able to make a play? And I think that's something that he's working on. I think with the short passes too. I think again, it's just because short passes isn't about how fast you can get it there. It's about like, okay, precision, anticipation, and accuracy. Usually, that's what you do. And so, because like Penix has never been known as like I'm gonna pick you apart, accurate, boom, 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 boom guy. He is all right, one good chunk play here, one good chunk play here, and then maybe one big play over the top. Because that's just where his strength is, which is a little different from Kirk, where really he's better in the short to intermediate, and then deep is like questionable because of arm strength, how healthy was his Achilles, things like that. So I think Penix, I know that's been a consistent issue for him, even in college. I don't know if that's sometimes maybe more of a fundamental. I don't know if that's like him just maybe overthinking it. I think Zach Robinson, like I said, made that comment earlier in camp about just Penix just filling out throws. I think, because I think he seems like a guy to me who's more of a gamer too. He just seems like maybe more of an in-game guy. He'll maybe make those throws than maybe like in the practice. Because at least in those situations, you can be like, all right, I can assess what happened, how I threw that ball. How can I do it differently next time? Because I think he communicates with Pitts. I think he communicates with Drake. I think he communicates with all those guys and asks those questions about like, okay, like where do you want this in that situation? Just so that way there's understanding. Because like it's like remember the clip when he first started, he played with Drake, he threw that fade to Drake or up jump ball to Drake, and he was just like, all right, you wanted me a little higher. He was like, yeah, but I'm glad you threw it, like stuff like that. So it's one of those things where that's just something he has to grow in. Like I said, Josh Allen was not an accurate quarterback at first. And he eventually became an accurate quarterback. I mean, Lamar,
that's a good point.
Him as a thrower, and even to this day, some people think he's still not the greatest thrower in the world. But there's not a lot of, like I said, perfect quarterbacks where they're just like every throw is elite from every angle and every part of the field. It may be ideal that Penix is better right now with intermediate to deep throws right now because they are trying to open the offense up more. Because we've seen a lot of bombs connecting, but at the same time, you'll sometimes see the occasional overthrow.
I know it's funny you bring up Josh Allen, and I don't want to make comparisons yet until we see a full season, but someone else that entered the league was a big play, intermediate play guy, Patrick Mahomes. And then the offense style started dialing back where it's like, okay, now we can pick you apart. We can throw the short game. We can also throw the bombs. But then Josh Allen also talked about in an interview that I saw, he did change his mechanics because he trusted his arm so much like Penix does. I don't know, right? I don't see Penix's mechanics like up close to be able to say, yes, that's what he needs to do. But I do know that Josh Allen talked about how he wasn't disconnecting the ball from his hip, and that was resulting in inaccurate throws. He was just trying to throw it as hard as he could where he thought his receiver would be. So could that be something Penix has to do? Maybe. But I like the point that you said that Lamar early in his career, had some accuracy problems, but I think he's one of the more accurate quarterbacks now. Same thing with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, like all these guys progress. And that's something as fans and the NFL media, they forget, right? These guys, even though Penix isn't at the youth that some of these other guys were when they entered the league, he's getting a little bit of later start. He's still I like to call this his rookie year because he's going to be starting week 1 for the first time in his career.
Right. Yeah.
And it'd be like you made a great point. This is his second year in the league. Like we know there's still growth. That's why there's excitement about Penix and that he can be the franchise because there's growth, there's development still there. There is a ceiling that people think he has that's higher than where he is right now. So if he's not there yet, then I'm going to expect there maybe not to be a part of parts of his game that are not the most buttoned up and or are really great at this very second, but doesn't mean it can't be. I think Penix has to just go through the year. Falcons will evaluate. We have 3 quarterback coaches. they're working with him.
They'll get it right.
I'm not too worried. I mean, like I said, we'll go through the season where I'm sure it'll be a third down or something that he misses, and then it's like, oh my God, it's just it's just part of the game. But I'm not too worried because then he may miss that, then come back on the next play, and then boom, over the top, Darnell Mooney touchdown, Bob. And then we're like, oh, okay. Because honestly, it's like, hey, we're making big plays. You can maybe avoid. Okay, we can miss that 1 5-yard out. Because really, like I said, for the most part, he overthrows guys. He's not underthrowing guys. He's overthrowing guys.
He's overthrowing.
Okay. So it sounds like it's just him getting the ball down more and getting it more on the level and on the line for all the receivers.
Continuing the Penix talk, now I'll pose a question to both of you gentlemen. If the red zone woes continue, will the Falcons staff ask him to use his legs more than he's accustomed to using? He is a viable threat down anywhere between the 10 to 5. Will we see that in this coming year? Is that something that Falcons might throw in as a new wrinkle, a quarterback keeper, and allow him to just run it right in? I think he had 1 rush touchdown last year versus the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken. Is that something that may come to life if these struggles do indeed start happening more frequent than not?
Go ahead, Brice. What do you think?
I mean, I think in general, Penix said he's going to use his legs more last year. There was a play in training camp. I remember he was under pressure, red zone, got out of the pocket, ran to probably the left, then found Ray McLeod in the end zone, well open across the middle. I think that's pretty much how he's going to do it, more like in a Russell Wilson type of sense, with the ability to take off if there's plenty of green grass. I think the thing about Penix is he's just going to be really smart about it. I know red zone's been a big thing for people because like we have Bijan, we have Algier, like we have Drake, we have Kyle. Why are we struggling so much? And I think that's just honestly just getting down, right now, especially if they're trying to open up the offense, just what works for everybody. Because I think when you go into the season, you still have those. You kind of go through all these plays. I feel like you have all these plays you run at the beginning of the year, first month of the season, and then as the season goes on, you kind of really kind of start to, nail in, okay, these are the plays that usually work. These are the plays that don't work. And I think right now you're just kind of trying to see what works for everybody. But I think Penix definitely using his legs could be effective. I think just at the same time, it's just like don't run recklessly.
Yeah.
But if you have a wide open lane, pocket collapsing, and then you see a big gaping hole, like, yeah, go ahead. Boom, take it. It's one of those things. So I think that Penix's legs are going to be key for what they want to do. But at the same time, just being smart when he does do it. And I think really him just creating more time will be best for the receivers that we have. Because I believe, you give Drake 3-4 more seconds, give Pitts 3-4 more seconds, potentially, they could get open. It's because it's not easy guarding those guys. It's just a matter of because if you think about the guys we've had, Mariota was kind of a run first kind of guy.
Brother.
Was kind of like not run first, but he was like a run. He was running. We gotta go back to the Des Bridder season. He ran primarily, design, things like that. Kirk, we know that wasn't his game. So for me, I think, we'll see them really open it up, I think. And I think Penix will definitely do some things where he's like, all right, let me maybe take something on my shoulders and, see if I can make a play here.
Solid.
I think I agree with Brice. He's going to be smart about it. He's more so going to be looking to create time and sit behind the line of scrimmage and see who bites at him. Like, oh, he's going to run, and then they abandon their man, and then Penix can just float it over them, and then boom, big chunk yards plays. My thing is, in the red zone, I'm more so going to be looking at Zach Robinson. What are you calling? What are we calling in the run game? Because, I get the point. Like, we have Bijan, we have Tyler. Yeah, what's the screen game look like? How is the screen game being utilized, right? I know offensive coordinators have scripts that they want to follow based off who they're playing, but it's like, okay, I have this screen called on this play, but it's not really situational, right? Like, how is Zach Robinson going to grow there? Because, Brice mentioned it. In the red zone, it's limited space. Everything's more condensed. The windows are smaller. So then how effective is your run game going to be, right? We're known as this outside zone, wide zone team. That's all we're going to primarily run. You have to evolve, right? You can't be predictable, because at times last year we were predictable, right? People learn the formations, right? We see the famous clip of Clay Matthews calling out the play and Cam going, watch this, because he knew it was going to work. But people were probably doing that all season. If you put on a mic, hey, they're in this formation, they just sent this motion, this is the play, right? So he needs to expand the run game, and that's by going to Dwayne Ledford, the run game coordinator, and say, I know you love outside zone, but we need to start mixing it up a little bit, because then you can mix up so many other things, play action from it, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a bootleg, right? It's a quick handoff fake because, oh no, here comes power or duo. But then, nope, I pull the ball out and, there's Drake on a slant, right? There he is coming across the middle. So that's where I'm going to be looking at. Do I want Penix to use his legs? No, I don't want my QB running out. He's not built like Josh Allen. He's not as fast as Lamar. I just want him to be smart, which I think he is a very smart individual, and he'll keep himself safe.
Very solid, man. We had some feistiness going on today in Falcons camp, and Carrie's here saying what's going on. Carrie says, hey, Berto Bro, talking Brice. Hope y'all are doing well. My QB is built different. 813 Florida boy, for real. I love it.
I'm from Tampa.
On business.
I'm from Tampa. Brice, were you in the media room when he said that?
No, that was today, so I wasn't.
I heard a bunch of chuckles when he said that. How do you receive it? Like, because like culturally, people understand when he said that, like, I'm from Tampa, like, essentially, like, that's not how we roll where I'm from. But there were some chuckles in the room. Like, what can you maybe elaborate and maybe give some explanation? Why would people chuckle when he said that?
Well, I think when you talk about fights in practice, I think when you watch it, you get a kick out of them. Like, yeah, we got to fight. Yeah, they hooking. So like that's just a continuation of that conversation.
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm from Tampa. Like, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
makes sense.
Like,
okay,
yeah,
I gotcha.
It's just a continuation. Like a fight, like if you think about most media sessions when you talk about fights, nobody's like, so what happened in that fight? Oh, okay, yeah.
I gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Most people are like, hey, you was hooking. What happened there? So that's kind of how.
A lot of stuff from. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, do you know, like, from the people that you've talked with, like, I know Penix said that words were exchanged, and Penix is a very keep to himself guy, and he finally said something. Do you, by chance, have any insight on who may have said something that got Penix to say something back, or are you unsure like the rest of us?
I'm unsure. I don't know. I would assume for the most part it was probably some D linemen. Because the people who came to Penix or who got into the fight really first was McGarry and Bergeron. So I'm thinking it's gonna be D linemen probably talk us back when they getting close to him and things of that nature.
What does this guy know?
So what I saw and what I heard was that Penix did make a comment about a certain individual's female friend, and that's what got things going. I don't know how true that is, man. But Penix coming out of left field with some slander talk or whatnot, that's what got it going. I don't know how true it is, but if that's what it is, oh, shit.
It's like your friend that's always like quiet, kind of in the corner, keeps to himself, and then he finally snaps. It's like,
yeah, he said what?
What?
Sometimes you gotta bark a little bit, man. I mean, it's funny because we're focused on that, but the person who's been barking the most on Tennessee has been Calvin Ridley the whole 2 days. He barked yesterday. He barked today. He was barking on Instagram.
He's so emotional.
Still got some hard feelings. Yeah, he took the matchup with AJ Terrell personal. Like I'm like, is there something that I don't know about?
Bro, he's got to realize this Falcon organization, man, were world class in his situation. They tried to help him out. They, in any way possible, man. So really, Calvin should not be as emotional. He should be more grateful than anything. Coming back home to Atlanta, the team that gave you the opportunity. Here we go. I know what is true. And Alberto got that big time money. Let me hold a few dollars, bro. I got you, bro. Shout out one time for the fan, man. Shout out one time for the fan on every Sunday and Friday. Make sure you tune into their fire content on all Falcons related news and sports. And we also have Atlanta Falcon Fandemic. E-Man, what's going on? I got you tomorrow, bro. And definitely, man, another great Falcon content creator as well. He says, we want guys to get chippy, but it needs to be controlled chippy. I do agree. The media will blow this up, but at the same time, we want opposing teams to be like, oh, no, here comes Atlanta. And we talked about this, bro, weeks ago. The Falcons at one point were known as one of the softest teams in the NFL. And this is in sight of what happened with Matt Ryan in that Aints game and where nobody came to his rescue.
Bro, I was so pissed.
I was fucking beside myself when that
like
happened.
that whole sideline should have been on that player.
Absolutely, man. And what we saw today, Drake London was in on the action. James Pierce Jr. was in on the action. You mentioned it. The offensive linemen obviously were right there. And Bergeron had some interesting tweets about Michael Penix, just kind of validating that his QB1 is a dog, bro. He's got it in him. So I love to see that. I love to hear that. I love to hear it, man. But I agree with Fandemic there. It has to be controlled chippiness. You don't ever want things going, out of the boundaries or the confine of practice.
I was going to touch on the Ridley thing. It's like, I think we all, like, still to this day, like if he was still here, we would love for him to be here. It was more of a reset for him, right? Mm-hmm. The report of his house getting broken into and him, being mentally affected by that, like anyone else would be mentally affected by that. And, the suspension, which was BS in my opinion, but he was still suspended for the year. It's like, okay, Calvin, you need a fresh start. We're doing this, yes, for us, but also for you, so you can get your footing in a new city. And you know what? That year in Jacksonville got him a huge payday in Tennessee.
Sure did.
Like, that helped propel him that way. Could he have done that in Atlanta? Maybe. We don't know that. But what we do know is that year in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence got him that payday. Now he's in Tennessee. So I'm a little confused on why he was. I get emotion. I get emotion because, I played sports. You guys, I'm sure, have played sports as well. Yeah. You get emotional in the game, but it's like, man, it's like had some vendetta against Atlanta. It's like, brother, Calvin, we love you, man. We wish you nothing but the best.
That's it, man. That's it. Oh, brother. I know exactly who this person is. And again, I appreciate you coming through the platform and supporting. I also appreciate you supporting the NFC South Roundtable. This is none other than Mr. Tom Brady himself. This is a Kobe Cochran fan here, man. But shout out and salute to you, my brother. So we don't have too much time left. We're on coming up on that 1 hour mark. Let's preview right quick the Titans game from Friday night. Some things that we're looking for this Atlanta Falcons ball club to build on from their game against the Lions, whether that be something on offense or defense. What say you, Bryce? We'll start with you.
Just for the defensive side of the ball. Just keep it. Can you come back out with the same energy, same intensity? I don't know if they're going to play Arnold Ebiketie this week. If they don't, I would expect them to see Braylon Trice, which I think he got his first sack of camp recently this week.
Trice did?
I remember seeing somebody say,
really,
he got a sack in camp. I just don't remember when. And then I remember seeing one rep he had in. It was like I was watching the offensive lineman blocking in front of me, and then in the background, I think Trice was doing a rep, and he actually had a pretty good rep against this Tennessee offensive line. So hopefully see him. I know they said they didn't play him last week just to make sure he gets through the preseason. Yeah. But I think I'll be interested to see how the D-line, because this D-line has so much rotation, so much talent. Like I think sometimes we get so enamored with the rookies that we don't realize Arnold Ebiketie might be the highest sack total guy we have. Like Arnold Ebiketie's not a scrub. Like Leonard Floyd's gonna get him some too. Like they have plenty of bodies to rotate at that pass rush. Literally you say those two, James Pierce, Jalen, and then Braylon. It's 5. And then you're not even talking about guys when they said Caden Ellis. That could be 6. So in the interior. So just seeing how the defensive line comes back, responds against Tennessee, and just see could they have another really good showing.
Do you know if Tennessee is going to play their offensive line, like J.C. Latham, Skoronski, Cushenberry, those guys?
I don't know. I think last week they did. Because Cam, I would think you wouldn't want to play your 2s with your starting quarterback.
Right.
So I think they will. They seem like they will, but I don't have any official confirmation from what I've seen yet that they are.
Gotcha. I'm trying to look it up now to see if there is anything coming up.
I would love it because, especially with the opportunity for the rookies, if AK doesn't play, we already know Leonard Floyd's not going to play. That means a lot of JPJ and Jalen Walker in the first half, hopefully a full first half for them. And then, some Braylon Trice sprinkled in there, Khalid Kareem, all those guys.
The offensive line is probably going to be one of the better parts of Tennessee this year. So from what I've seen, this is just looking at Tennessee. They said, because apparently there's a lot of hype behind the offensive line. And beat writers have had to be like, hey, chill out. Like, they're going to be better.
For real.
Because they're going to be better than what they were last year, but they're not going to be like elite. Like, let's calm down. Right. So, like I said, in the first day of joints, it wasn't like he was getting like sacked up. It was just couldn't find nobody. So it'll be interesting to kind of see if they do, because I think that would be an interesting.
I can see why they might get a little hype. They signed what's his name? They drafted him, right?
They drafted him, Kevin Zeitler.
They signed Kevin Zeitler, who's also 50 years old playing guard, and then Dan Moore Jr. was that from the Niners or the Steelers?
Steelers.
And he got over. Remember, this was the offseason where free agency, everyone overspent on guys that really shouldn't gotten the money they did. Yeah. And I think that's where they did that because, man, if you look at that receiving core, it's just Calvin.
No love for Van Jefferson.
Former Falcon. Shout out.
Arthur
Smith prodigy.
Yeah. Tyler Lockett's there. But, Tyler Lockett's a show.
What do we say about Tennessee, right? Andre Johnson wore a Titan uniform. Julio Jones wore a Titan uniform. Randy Moss wore a Titan uniform. I'm not saying Tyler Lockett's at their level, but this is where the washed receivers go.
That's right.
And that's Sir Tyler Lockett, sir. You are WASHED.
So
washed.
I do have something. So Jim Watt, who covers the Titans, said that earlier this preseason, Callahan said Cam Ward and the starters will play in every preseason game for a series or two. So yeah, they'll probably be out there for a series or two Friday.
I love
Hell
it.
yeah. I love
Peter
it.
Skoronski versus Brandon Dorless, Rick Oro. I'll sign up for that.
And don't forget, you may see a Kirk Cousins appearance. Ooh.
Oh,
Don't forget Raheem.
Gotta drive up that trade value, baby.
Yeah,
drive up that trade value.
brother.
I think they wrapped up QB3. They said Easton Stick.
Easton
Hit it with the
Stick,
stick.
hey.
Let it hit. So
Man, 15 to 18 for 143. Who you kidding? That man was dropping dimes. A passer rating of 119 Friday night. He was cooking. But for me, I just would like to see, again, more of the rookies, JPJ, Jalen Walker, Billy Bowman and D. Alford, which that battle is heating up. D. Alford had a pick today. And we didn't hear too much from Billy Bowman's camp to see what he was what was going on with him. Of course, the DeMarco Helms and Xavier Watts flopping at the safety spot. Who's going to get the best of who? By some accounts, Xavier Watts looks like the starter, but these guys are breathing down his neck, and that's DeMarco Helms and possibly Jordan Fuller, which I know Bro Talk had mentioned in the past. Jordan Fuller is probably just a camp body for right now. I don't think he may not make the roster.
That contract's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
That's what makes me wonder if he makes this roster, especially as strong a camp as DeMarco's having. You have Xavier Watts. Could you have Jordan Fuller for depth? I don't know who else. How many safeties would we carry last year? Did we carry 3 or 4?
Three. I think 3.
yeah, because they never IR DeMarco.
Right.
So they carry 3.
So they carried 3.
So
Yep.
really, you're carrying.
So
4.
and then Bowman is still listed as a safety, right?
I think he's
Is
listed as a nickelback.
I thought he was at nickel too.
Yeah. Well, the depth chart, he's at nickelback.
Okay. Because
All
I
right,
think
so
from what I
that's
saw on the roster is he's still his position is listed as safety, but he's on the nickel depth chart portion. So that's where it gets technical.
What the hell did you do now?
Someone tweeted out 28-3, so I
Yeah.
put out the reach where he was short at the Super Bowl.
Oh, the Kevin Dyson one?
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Hey man,
That breaks
Hey,
the hearts, bro.
talk about ripping the heart out, right? You were
That's
1
right.
yard away.
You sure? Yeah.
Hey man,
Yeah.
you know that you guys ever seen that meme where the dog's smiling and there's one barking in his face?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like where the rage bait works. That's how I got you, Titan fans. I got
There
you.
go. There you go. Jeez, this guy's brutal. But some other things from this Friday's matchup that I'm looking forward to is the interior of the Falcons' offensive line. Guys like Kyle Hinton, Jovan Gwynn, can they stick around on this Falcons roster? And they're going to be going up against Jeffrey Simmons and company, so that's a good battle. Michael Gonzalez, who was a Louisville product, was waived this past week, so there's an opportunity there at that depth. Bro talk.
Did you see Joshua Grays running at left guard with the second team?
No.
Yes, he's getting reps at the second team.
Oregon State.
Oregon State, Joshua Gray was getting reps at the second team as the left guard.
As left guard, interesting. Now that's a versatile piece for an offensive line.
He can play
all
from
5.
tackle. Yeah,
Yep.
any position on the offensive
I
line.
like that. So that's what I'm going to definitely be looking out for. And of course, as Brice mentioned at the beginning of the show, the wide receivers. Who's going to step up some more? David Sills is a guy that we've been hearing a lot of. Can Nick Nash make a little bit more noise? We did see some of them with Emory Jones in the fourth quarter, but we didn't get to see the full arsenal because the game was called. So can that translate into this game? I'm really pushing for him. And again, I'm going to stick to my guy right now, and that's D'Angelo Malone. What more can he do to separate himself in terms of, etching some playing time on this Falcons defense? Bro, you've got everybody tighten your ass up.
Hey man, you know me. I'm ready for the smoke for anyone that wants it.
Oh shit, man!
Talk bad about my Falcons. All right, here we go. I got time.
These people, man, they got no filter, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, bro, talk, man. What do you want to add on before we close out, brother?
Nah, man. I just want to thank Brice for taking time out of his day, giving us some insight into Falcons joint practice. This was really fun, really insightful, and thank you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you guys inviting me on, man. Really happy.
Absolutely. Our very first guest, man.
very first.
Jeez.
Hopefully, I lived up to expectations.
Oh, yeah.
I think I hope I did good. You know what I'm saying? Just I know when you're in the presence of two legends, you really just want to make sure.
Bro, man, I'm just trying to fake it till I
fitting
make
the status quo needed to be
here. I'm labeled many things in this content creating world, man. I'm just a humble guy that just loves to be in the space. But since you're in such a giving mood, man, give us the socials. Where can folks find you? Where can they tap into Brice Lewis and his wizardry when it comes to
yes. Thanks. Bricey2K is my @ for everything on social media. You can follow me on Twitter with that. Also YouTube, Bricey2K, _2K. Host of the Believe in Hawks podcast that's now presented by FanDuel. So hopefully I can start making me they made a partnership with FanDuel. So obviously I may have to start having some props and bets and helping lead to some gambling addictions. So we'll see. But
no pun intended to Calvin Ridley, but
I'm crying. But yeah, so you can catch me on the YouTube, also available on any podcast platform, and then all my Falcons content is also on my YouTube as well. If you guys want to catch up, see what I'm talking about for sure. And you'll probably see Bro Talk on there again in the future. Hoping to get Berto on there in the future as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll keep it going as the Falcons season gets going and keep the content coming out, man. Just trying to produce content and keep building the community.
Gotcha. Bro Talk.
You guys already know, Dirty Bird Central. We are back in all 22 season, weekly videos, and kind of feel out what topics to talk about and who to highlight. Last week was the defensive front. We'll see who pops on the screen this week in game 2 of the preseason. So Dirty Bird Central, long form content and short form content, as well as TikTok, Instagram, if you're into Instagram reels. If you are, just go to TikTok. Come on, go to TikTok. Instagram's a dying breed. And then I am still at BK Squared on Twitter because why, Berto? Drag my feet.
Lento.
That's
oh man, that's what's up, man. And of course, man, if you don't know, man, I'm your boy Berto, host of the 95 North Falcons talk show on YouTube. You can also catch me Monday through Thursday on Bleacher Report, dropping short form content for Bleacher Report, as I am their official Falcons content creator. And you can also find me Friday night, post-game reaction to Titans Falcons, breaking down the game and its analysis and giving you my insightful thoughts on what went good, what went bad for the Falcons. And also, I'll be in the same role from week 1 until the end on Bleacher Report as well. And if you're not tired of seeing me, you can see me Tuesday nights. Tuesday night, brother. 8 p.m. NFC South Roundtable. Myself and the other ones, the other guys, are talking shit on air and just trying to have a great time doing that at the same time. But yes, NFC South Roundtable, you can catch me on there as well, man. But for Bricey, for Bro Talk, I'm your boy Berto. We appreciate everybody that came through in the chat, all 434 views that are joining us. Please hit that subscribe button to all of our panels if you could, please. And until then, we'll see you next Wednesday live at 9 p.m. Until then, peace. Yay.